Thanks for coming to the house today.
My pleasure.
How are you?
Running and rushing.
I can imagine. Congratulations on another film. I mean, there are many stories to tell and many reasons to tell them, aren't there?
Yeah, I've been at it for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I give people who haven't seen it yet the rundown of what this one is and what this one's about?
This film?
Yeah.
It's about people in a community in northern Manitoba. The place is called Norway House.
Mm-hmm. It's a large community too, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And it's north of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And it's really about the people in that community, but mainly the children and their school.
And what did you learn when you started this?
It's just such a fabulous place and great school. You know, I've done a lot of tours in a lot of schools over the years, even before making films, that I was singing and talking about history. And so I did a lot of schools, but I've never seen one as great as this one.
What makes it so great?
I think it's the will of the leadership to place the children first in everything, including the building. This building was made, I think, about 10 years ago. And the architecture even is very respectful to traditions of the people. Like, there's a lot of circles and very beautiful building and animal designs on the stone, and the roof is all glass, so the light is incredible, just that alone. And the children can go there up to university from kindergarten, and they learn about their tradition, their language, and their treaties, and all the rest that you must learn when you go to school. And it's...
Is it the sort of school that can be a model for
I think so.
What can happen
Definitely.
elsewhere? Yeah.
And not only that, music is obligatory, so we filmed 500 children playing the violin.
I'm thinking just how crazy that is in the conversation of the modern education system in the rest of the, especially Western world. One of the first things that gets cut for our arts. And these schools are recognizing how important that is.
Yes, it's the opposite. It's just wonderful. You see these kids coming to school by bus, and they get off the bus, they run into the school, and it's such a different time. You know, like I feel I'm so privileged to have lived this long to see the difference and to see the caring of children and education, how important it is, and for so many decades, like for years and years, we had books that were really designed to create hate towards our people and lies about the history of this country. So to see this now, you know, and in my time in life, it's such a gift. I'm just so happy.
Are you surprised that we're here? Are you surprised that you saw it?
Yes, I was very surprised that it existed.
Yeah.
You know, and
so many of the stories that you've told haven't been as positive. It's been actually quite tragic in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Was it nice to kind of make a film like this?
Oh, I cannot describe. You know, the people say so hopeful. I don't feel the word hope qualifies to say how great that is enough. You know, I just. Maybe over the years I'll develop the right words, but it's so profound and it's so special.
As an artist who spent so much time telling these stories and living it, of course, what do you think the impact has been on you? This idea of residual trauma, residual pain, just deep down in your core, you've experienced a lot of hope, but also a lot of tragedy. What's the impact been on you?
For several years, especially these last 10 years, I would say these last 5 years, I've been telling people that we're going someplace where we've never been before. I know that mainly from the will of teenagers, young people that have been marching and saying no to suicide and doing a lot of work to change that history. And I've talked to young people, they've said things you think they would be 90 years old, and they're 16, 17 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's a very different time.
But if you think about it, you're talking about the last 5 years especially.
Yes.
You've been making films for
50.
45 years before that.
Yes.
50 years in
Can
total.
you imagine?
So just imagine 45 years of, did you feel like we were going someplace positive 45 years ago?
It was, I refused to stay in a space where there's no future. I always believe that we are going to be better. We're going to make things better. I truly believe that. But to have witnessed what I have witnessed with our young people is just, it makes you feel it's going to be all right, It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Documentaries get watched an awful lot right now. The Netflix world, there's always something you can see online. And I'm sure you've thought about this many times, and I've read that you've thought this. If you go back 50 years, the National Film Board, it's one of the only places in Canada where your people could tell their own story. Even when respectable news organizations would do it, it was still from a different perspective. Have you felt that these docs and NFB have been one place where you can actually tell that story?
Yes, I think it's probably the only place in our case. And, since the beginning, it's changed a lot and it progressed to... now I really feel the Canadians are listening to us. Mm. And it's very new. And I think that especially the reconciliation has helped a lot to change that.
You've noticed
history.
It,
yeah? And... for the longest time, I think Canadians didn't know what the real history was, didn't know about the residential schools, didn't know about all what's happened here.
And the last residential school didn't close down that long ago.
No.
Like not that long ago at all.
Yeah. And so all that, and now is really at the surface. And it's very different. Everywhere I go, people are curious, they ask questions, and they want to know of good things for our people. And it's a very different time. When you think that those books were designed especially to create bad feelings, to create hate, there's no other words, towards our people. And now that's dead, and we're going to a different place.
It does feel dead, doesn't it?
Yes.
I've only been doing this for 25 years, and I've seen the conversation come and go, trying to be a part of it in as positive a way as I can. But there's generally a one step forward, two steps back. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I feel like it's completely different. Why do you think that is? What happened?
I think it's from educating. It's from people being informed and then getting involved, once you know what the reality is.
Indigenous youth specifically, right?
Indigenous, but also I think a lot of Canadians want to see something else and are really helping out in a lot of ways.
What did you make of the whole 150 thing, Canada 150?
Well, we are very busy decolonizing ourselves. So, if I'm asked to do a lot of things, I take advantage and I decolonize. That's what I'm celebrating.
That's a good place to be.
Yes.
What did you think of the Secret Path and all the conversations around Secret Path and Gord Downey and the Charlie Wenjack Foundation?
Oh. It's really very important, yes.
And you saw a positive impact from it?
Yes, yes.
And I guess it matters having a guy like Gord Downey tell that story?
Yes. Yeah, I think there's lots happening about that situation. Mm.
Feeds your hope?
Yes. You certainly don't want to see that system ever coming back. Yeah, so... And many of our people are really very busy creating, whether it's film or artwork or sculpture, everything. People want to have a go at influencing changes.
What kind of impact do you think is directly related to your work? What kind of impact your work has had in the communities?
Well, for me, from the beginning, My main interest was to influence change in the educational system. This is why I started doing what I was doing at that time, which was singing and talking to. I wanted the children for them to hear a different story than what they were told. And I'm not changed. It's still the same reasons. And it really paid off. Like I think the day that I decided that I wanted to be in the classroom, talk to children, was the best decision I ever made in my life.
Do you think you even made that decision, or was it made for you? Like this is part of your destiny?
Yeah. Well, I made it, but another thing also is that I come from, there was 5 children in my family, and the 4 children all died as infants. And I myself was in coma. I was dying, and an old aunt of my mother came in and wrapped me in a blanket, and she saved my life. And I feel I owe to life, like I owe to give back because I was saved. And I feel that very high responsibility, and I feel that I've been given such a gift, and I want to give it back.
Did you face a lot of encouragement?
Well, no, I had a very bad childhood.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. But as time goes by, even a couple of years ago, I thought, my God, I never thought I'd feel this way. I almost felt I had to thank the fact that I had such an awful life that made me do what I'm doing.
It made you tough, I'm certain, right? Did it make you tender and vulnerable as well?
I fought back, I never lie down.
Yeah. The aunt you mentioned, is she the one that lived to be 100?
Me?
Your aunt. You said that aunt that you had mentioned who wrapped you up. Is she the one that lived to be 100 years old?
No, I don't know how old she was when she died. I don't even remember her because I was a baby, and she must have died when I was a young person.
Did you have another aunt who lived quite long? Who used to smell bread in her house when she'd be cooking bread?
Yeah, this is where I lived first on the reserve. My aunt made bread for, not just for us, but for many people in the village. Yeah, very good bread.
And you said that, you once said apparently that if you live to be 100, then you can be a great old woman as well?
Yeah.
What does that mean, to be a great old woman?
To be there for young people, to give example.
But then you were a great young woman then, because you've been doing that for a long time.
I've been old for a long time.
No, young for a long time. Now, what you're doing now is the work of youth. In that the energy, it seems to continue.
Yes.
Do you have more stories you want to tell?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Lots of stories, but I'm a listener. I like to hear other people tell their stories. That's what I do best.
All right, so when you were singing, what songs did you like to sing?
Well, I wrote some songs in English and in French and in my language. I also sang old traditional sound and chant.
Do you still sing?
Yes, but not like I used to. I used to do a lot of concerts, but I've stopped for a period of time. But now I'm going to go to Utrecht to do a concert in November.
How do you feel about, when was the last time you did a show?
Well, I still sing, but not for 2 hours like I used to, But now, once I said yes, I was almost sorry. Like, can I do this? And I was just in Douarnenez in Brittany 2 weeks ago. They were doing a retrospective of my work there. And they asked me to sing, and I did not expect it at all. I was really shaking. But I did sing, and it sort of gave me courage for the next time I have to do it. Because
what did you sing? What did you sing? Sing it for us.
I sang a song that I wrote for the river where I come from.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one where the kids used to play in it, and then the white kids built a pool, like that first film? An early film?
No, it's another...
Another river?
Another song, yeah.
Okay.
But yes, when I did the campaign to build the pool was because the river was polluted, but worse was that our children were not welcome to the swimming pool next door.
Where the white kids were swimming, yeah.
Yeah, so I said to the children, we'll get our own swimming pool. So when you say that to a child, the next day they say, where is the pool?
You had to raise $12,000, didn't you, to build that pool?
18,000.
$18,000.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the money? How'd you guys do it?
Oh, just singing, and I was modeling in those days. My fee went towards that, and I would gather a lot of our own people, and we'd do shows and raise money that way. And then also, I got a name brand so that people could give money, and I could give a receipt that they could use for tax deductible.
Modeling is considered to many exploitive today. What was the modeling world for you like back then?
Well, I started modeling when I was 16, and I did model high fashion clothes for fashion shows, and also other lines, which was not high fashion, but gave me a job. And I also model bathing suits for a period of time. It gave me a salary, and also when I was singing, also it was all together. Gave me a world that I would have never known otherwise.
What did you see when you went into that world?
I saw many things. I saw a lot of abusive things, and but I also.
Like what kind of things?
Well, people think, like you always. It didn't matter what I did, but we are. If you're an indigenous person, a woman especially, you're a prey on people who think that that's what you're there for, and so you have to be pretty strong to fight that.
Were you always strong?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm stronger now.
You remain. You grow.
Yeah.
Let's play some songs. What songs do you want to play? What should we request? You have Amos Lee as one of them, right?
Oh, I just love him.
Talk about Amos.
I love him. I listen to him a lot. And I like that song he does about when he is in the arm of a woman. Right. For any woman to hear that, it's very beautiful.
Let's play that. What else do you want to request? We have Shovels and Rope. Tell me about Shovels and Rope.
That one is part of a new CD that has just come out, and which I find really wonderful. And that's the one also where Dolly Parton sings that story song. It's just fabulous. I've been listening to it over and over again. My daughter left the room because I was playing the same song on the way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Brandi Carlile song. Right?
Yes,
That's it. That's right.
It's wonderful.
How about?
I think, is there a recording of her singing it?
Of Brandi Carlile?
The story, yeah.
Yeah, there must be.
Because I once heard someone else, and it must have been her. It was even higher.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the power of a story in general, right?
Ah, it tells the. It's like history of the woman.
That's right.
Who's a certain age.
How about, you also requested Johnny Reed.
Yeah, I really love that song that he does.
Today I'm going to try to change the world?
Yes.
Yeah. When did you first hear that? Have you met Johnny?
No, but I wrote to him because I wanted children to sing that song when I was working in James Bay. Mm-hmm. And I wrote to him asking him permission, could the children learn the song? But he never answered me, so I didn't do it.
Next time you call me,
okay.
And we'll make sure
yeah.
that Johnny gets back to you, okay?
Because I love it, and I love the way he does it.
What is the essence of a beautiful song to you?
That, for me, a song has to tell a story. Of course, for me, storytelling is very sacred. Mm-hmm. So if a song you can sit there and listen to it, and you fabricate the image in your mind because of the words, I find that's very powerful.
The other request you made was, it's a classic, John Trudell.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I love John Trudell. I felt really bad when he left.
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful poem that he wrote, and which I used in my last film that I made, which is We Can't Make the Same Mistake Twice.
Mm-hmm. I was in Standing Rock in the wintertime, and Jackson Browne was playing in Bonnie Raitt, and John Trudell's band were playing with them, John was always there with Jackson over the years. Talk about his legacy and what he meant to people.
Oh, it's just... He had an incredible life, and Yeah, you wonder how he survived everything that's happened to him. I'm very fond of him.
When did you first hear of him?
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, when you're thinking of the 70s, when what's it called, that prison that they did a stand there in the States. What's it called? I forget the name.
Not Attica. No, which one is it?
No. They occupied it, aimed at that time. And the singing and poetry.
Alcatraz was occupied.
Alcatraz, that's it. That's the one.
That's the one. I remember that story.
Yeah.
That was a
John
big,
Trudell was there.
Yeah, that was a very big event.
Oh, yeah.
The actor Benjamin Bratt, who was on the Law and Order series, his mother was on that, was part of the occupation as well.
Really?
She took over, yeah. It was a pretty big deal. The other song, Willie Dunn. Talk a bit about Willie Dunn.
Oh, Willie Dunn, I just adore.
Half Scottish, half Micmac, right?
Yeah. He was. He must have written more than 100 songs for sure, and his voice is just so superb. And I love his style, the way he plays the guitar. Yeah. You know.
How about modern music? Are you listening to a lot of modern music? A Tribe Called Red. We had them play in this house, and the impact of that band is something, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. Yes.
If could we some late night, 2 a.m, catch you at a rave?
Yeah,
Would we see you at a rave dancing to A Tribe Called Red?
Yeah, you could.
Thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.